Have you ever wondered what it would be like if the world was washed clean? A complete reset. It's a powerful idea, but for one man, it wasn't just an idea, it was a terrifying reality. This is the story of Noah in a time when the world was young. Humanity had already lost its way. The earth was filled with corruption and violence. It's said that every inclination of the human heart was only evil all the time. Imagine a world so broken, so far from its intended design, that its creator looked upon it with a heavy heart, grieved to his very core. This was the world Noah lived in, but Noah was different. In the midst of all this chaos, he was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time. He walked faithfully with God. And so, in a world spiraling into darkness, God saw a glimmer of hope in Noah and his family. He decided to make a new beginning, but first, the old world had to be washed away. God spoke to Noah, revealing a plan that must have sounded insane. He said, "I am going to bring floodwaters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens. Every creature that has the breath of life in it. Everything on earth will perish. But I will establish my covenant with you." Then came the instructions. Build an ark. Not just any boat, but a colossal vessel made of cypress wood, covered with pitch inside and out. It was to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. That's about 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet longer than a football field and taller than a 4-story building. A massive, floating fortress against the coming storm. For years, Noah and his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth toiled. You can imagine the ridicule, the whispers, the outright mockery from their neighbors. Building a giant boat in the middle of dry land, they must have looked like fools. But Noah's faith was unshakable. He kept building, kept preparing, just as God had commanded him. Then came the second part of the command: gather the animals, 2 of every kind, male and female, from the birds of the air to the creatures that crawl on the ground. They would come to Noah to be kept alive. The ark wasn't just a lifeboat for his family. It was a sanctuary for all of creation, a genetic library to repopulate the earth. Finally, the day arrived. Noah, his wife, his sons, and their wives, 8 people in total, entered the ark along with the countless animals. Then God himself sealed the door. For 7 days they waited inside, in the quiet dimness of the ark, the calm before the storm, and then it began. The springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were opened. It wasn't just rain. It was a cataclysm. Water erupted from the ground and poured from the sky relentlessly. For 40 days and 40 nights, the downpour was ceaseless. The water rose higher and higher, lifting the ark off the ground. It swept over the hills, then the mountains. Every living thing on the face of the earth was wiped out: people and animals, creatures that move along the ground, and birds in the sky. Only Noah and those with him in the ark were left. Imagine being inside that ark. The constant roar of the water, the creaking of the massive wooden beams, the cries of the animals. Outside, the world they knew was being completely obliterated. Imagine the weight on Noah's shoulders. He wasn't just a survivor. He was the last hope for humanity, the steward of a new world. He had to trust, to believe that beyond the terrifying waves and the endless rain, there was the promise of a sunrise he had not yet seen. The waters flooded the earth for 150 days, and through it all, the ark floated, a tiny vessel of hope on an endless, angry ocean. This story of destruction is also a story of incredible faith and ultimate salvation. It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, when it feels like the whole world is against you, holding on to hope and faith can see you through the storm. Thanks for watching. If you found this story powerful, consider subscribing for more.